Guys, thank you so much for joining us on our live course on smart shopping today. My name is JP. This is Anna. We are really looking forward and happy that everybody's able to join us, and we're able to give you guys a little bit of insights for smart shopping. This is the first of many upcoming courses by Wireshark Media's Academy. The Academy consists of a series of free PPC courses available to anybody interested in learning about digital advertising. If you haven't signed up yet, we encourage you to register by visiting wiresharkmedia.com/academy. Now, let's get started with today's session. So as we mentioned before, my name is JP. I am a senior digital marketing strategist at Wireshark Media. I've been with the company for over 2 years. And today our special guest, as you can see, is Anna Alice Levins. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, guys. Thank you again for joining us. Before we get started, I would like to introduce myself. I have a background in strategic marketing and brand positioning. I got started in digital advertising in 2015 and quickly specialized in managing advertising campaigns for e-commerce businesses. Today, we'll review an in-depth guide on Google Smart Shopping. Our main objective is to empower users to get the most out of this campaign type. Therefore, we divided today's agenda in the following manner. First, we will talk about what are Google Smart Shopping campaigns and how do they work. We will also briefly discuss the bidding strategies that are available for Smart Shopping campaigns. Then we will explain its benefits and limitations and the campaign's general requirements. Lastly, we'll review our best practices whenever setting up Smart Shopping campaigns. At the end of the session, we expect you to be able to determine whether this campaign type is right for you and be able to correctly set up a new Smart Shopping campaign following Wireshark Media best practices. Again, this course is meant to be very interactive, so we'll make 2 pauses during today's session so the users can raise any comments or questions they might have. So if there's anything that you're not sure about, or you would like to make a comment or raise a question while we present, please write that down and we'll get to you during one of our breaks. Thank you.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it. Let's get started.
So let's get started by reviewing the concept of Smart Shopping campaigns. Smart Shopping campaigns is a campaign type that integrates product ads, smart bidding strategies, and display remarketing. They were announced in Google's marketing live last year in 2018, and they were launched as a beta. They became available under the name of Smart Shopping campaigns to all users this year, so we can say this is a fairly new campaign type. They can be seen as a hybrid between a shopping campaign with a display remarketing campaign that utilizes machine learning bidding to become an automated campaign. So as we said, Smart Shopping campaigns use machine learning to set up product bids based on the performance of similar industries or historical account performance, the campaign's budget, and your campaign goal. Its smart bidding is focused on maximizing conversion value. This means that bids are updated real time based on the likelihood of a conversion. Now, something that we want to explain and make some bring some attention to is that large advertisers often rely on bidding softwares because it helps them make decisions faster, more often, and based on a large amount of historical data and real-time data to make campaign management and performance more efficient. Now, robust, reliable bidding options were not available for advertisers with tight budgets before. Google has been working on improving its available bidding strategies, and it happens that Smart Shopping campaigns use the 2 newest strategies that Google has available, which are maximize conversion value and maximize ROAS. I'll try to briefly explain what these 2 strategies do and how do they work so that you guys have some insight to it before we expand on this topic towards the end of the webinar. So maximize conversion value tries to get the most or the largest amount of revenue possible within your specified budget. There's another option under maximize conversion value, which is maximize ROAS. And what it does is it allows you to set up a target ROAS to maximize profit margin instead of sales revenue. We've heard several comments from advertising resisting automated bidding strategies due to unfortunate previous experiences or because just they fear to let go that control of something so important as bidding. However, this is often linked to a lack of experience with bidding softwares. So during this webinar, we will address how to use bidding strategies to your advantage. Now, we will jump to continue talking about smart shopping, and towards the end of the webinar, we will teach you exactly how to set up and how to choose between these two bidding strategies.
So you were saying that the more data available for these smart bidding strategies, the better it'd be for the accounts, right?
Exactly, but we will go ahead and expand on this towards the end of the webinar.
Right.
So we will now move on to the benefits and limitations of utilizing smart shopping campaigns. We review both aspects to make it easier for users to understand what they can achieve and what they will leave aside if they decide to get started with smart shopping. Among the benefits, the main one or the first one would be that the campaign basically manages itself. Once it is created, there's minimal work left to do to the campaign itself, meaning its search terms, bids, and all other settings except for budget and ROAS goal, if applicable, will be automatically adjusted by Google's machine learning algorithm. This means that advertisers will have more time available to work on their product feeds or their campaign types, or other campaign types such as search or, I don't know, a DSA campaign. Additionally, smart shopping campaigns show your products across Google's display through remarketing display, utilizing your product feed. This translates into a greater reach compared to regular shopping campaigns, while also having a fast and straightforward setup. In short, you can have exposure on both networks without having to set up the campaign separately. You get greater consumer reach in less time with less effort. And lastly, it delivers a great performance. Whiteshirt Media has tested smart shopping campaigns since its beta phase, and we've developed a set of best practices that are followed internally across all strategists. In general, we have seen higher conversion volume, higher conversion rates, and higher conversion value compared to existing shopping campaigns with the manual bidding. But of course, all good things have also some kind of limitations. So as we said, it is important to understand the campaign capabilities and limitations in order to be able to determine if it's a good fit for our particular business goals. The main points to highlight are the fact that the campaign self-management feature leaves you without control over multiple campaign settings. We will list and go over the most important ones. The first one is that you cannot set up campaign priorities if you decide to create multiple campaigns, which is a feature available in standard shopping campaigns. In regard to targeted locations, you won't be able to exclude or target only specific regions whenever you use this campaign type, meaning if you want to target only a state within the United States or exclusively the United States, you may also have some impressions in Mexico. And there's no way for you to exclude that. Negative keywords cannot be added and search terms cannot be reviewed. Meaning you won't have any idea of what users type in to see your ad, or you won't also be able to exclude certain terms from the campaign. This is just not available. Bid adjustments can't be made at a device level, so device exposure cannot be modified. You can review the individual device performance, but you won't be able to exclude or prioritize their exposure. And ad schedule can be changed. This means your ads will run 24/7. Additionally, valuable insights are lost, meaning you won't have access to look at network performance. You won't be able to evaluate whether search performs better than display or vice versa. You won't also be able to look at the audience performance or the placement performance. So this is valuable data that you just won't have available. Nevertheless, we've seen the value of smart shopping, and this value often compensates for its limitations in the majority of scenarios. And this is why we encourage users to give them a try. Basically, you have a balance. In one side, you want to have greater control and ability to insights, right? And on the other side, you have saving time on management while also getting a great performance. So you have to let go of one to get the other. Unfortunately, you can have both at the same time. Okay, so now we will, before we begin to discuss the campaign creation strategy, where we will discuss more about the campaign setup, we will have a small pause to answer any questions that our audience may have. Remember, all of the technical questions, like how do you set up a campaign, how do I choose between bidding strategies, and all that will be answered in the second, in our second period. And for now, we will try to answer all questions when it comes to how the campaign works and about the concept of smart shopping.
Okay, let's check out if we have any questions.
Okay, so we have a question.
We have a question, 1 second. It says, are the product feed attributes still relevant for smart shopping campaigns?
Okay, and that's a great question. Yes, of course they're important. Whenever you are building up a campaign, a shopping campaign, the product feed itself, it's one of the most important elements in the shopping campaign itself and its performance. The smart shopping campaign will manage your bid. It will manage pretty much the entire setup and settings within the campaign, but you will need to have a good product feed in order for the bidding and the rest of the setup to work. If your product titles are vague, if you don't have product descriptions, if you're missing relevant info from your product feed, of course the campaign will not perform as good as it could. So it's always important to be mindful about what you add to your product feed. And of course, if you have missing attributes, you won't even be able to run the campaign itself in case your products get disapproved. So yes, your product feed attributes are very relevant for smart shopping or for any other shopping campaigns.
That's great. Thanks for the info, Anna. And remember, guys, for any, if you guys still have any doubts or any questions, remember to please sign up to our academy by visiting whitesharkmedia.com/academy. We still have more insights, for more information, and even other courses they might be able to take there. We'll still give it a few minutes, see if there's anybody else who has any other questions.
Okay, I think we're good for now. If you still have a question and you haven't been able to submit it, remember we'll have another break towards the end of the webinar where you'll be able to submit any other questions. Okay, so let's move forward with the campaign creation strategy. One of the most common questions that we get from users, they constantly ask themselves, is whether you need to have historical data to get started with smart shopping. You need to know that you can get started either way, but you also need to be aware that you'll get different results based on whether there's previous data or not. As a general rule, our strategies use Smart Shopping campaigns only as an upgrade from standard shopping campaigns. This means whenever standard shopping campaigns start converting, that is typically 15 to 20 conversions over the last 30 days, we add the best performing product categories to a Smart Shopping campaign. Advertisers with 8 to 10 conversions over the last 30 days in a standard shopping campaign can also move their products to Smart Shopping. Of course, the more data you have, the better it will be for the algorithm. Now, we've also tried starting Smart Shopping campaigns without any historical data. However, we've seen it takes a lot longer for the algorithm to generate conversions compared to how long it would take us if the campaign bids were optimized manually. Meaning our strategist manually adjusting bids to a Google Shopping campaign will get better results compared to Smart Shopping campaign adjusting the bids for them. So we would generally suggest running Smart Shopping campaigns only when there's historical data in the account from a previous shopping campaign. We would like to highlight that Google not only relies on your on your account's historical data. Instead, Google can go ahead and use the data from other industries that are similar to yours and use that in order to predict which product or which bid to use in order to get a conversion. Now, advertisers that have absolutely no experience in setting or adjusting bids on standard shopping campaigns can run these campaigns without historical data. Of course, they can rely on the algorithm to learn which products will yield to the greatest revenue. However, they will need to know this will take time.
So it's not that you can't start a Smart Shopping campaign without data. It's just it'll just take a little bit longer than campaigns that already have historical data.
Exactly. Generally, if you go ahead and start from scratch, the algorithm will try to bid on particular products, and it will try to determine whether that product it's likely to convert or not. You will bid for it for a certain period of time, and with time, if the product doesn't convert, it will try another that it thinks it's likely to convert, and it will go ahead and try within this specific campaign until it really is able to determine which are the best performing products. But of course, if you have data and you already are using the products that have worked for you in standard shopping, and there's data for the algorithm to know that, it will not have to do that type of test. Instead, it will just go ahead and work with the data that you have and yield to much better results, faster results.
Cool. Thank you for that.
So about separation and segmentation, about campaign segmentation, we must say that Google suggests you to form large groups of products, if possible, to include all products that you want to advertise for in a single campaign. Because of course, the more products you have, the more data you have, it is better for the algorithm in order to be able to predict what works and what doesn't. But well, we'll also, as Whiteford Media, advise users to try to group together as many products as possible in a single campaign. But if you have products with large price differences, with very different profit margins or a significant difference in performance in your existing standard shopping campaign, we suggest you to create different campaigns with different target ROAS. The fact that you'll use a different target ROAS will help you bid lower or higher for specific campaigns. It is important, I think, to mention that the reason behind our suggestion is that if you have a product with a high price but a low profit margin, the algorithm, of course, will not know that this is a low margin product. So it will rely on the product's price in order to say, okay, the product has 10 conversions and the product costs $10, versus another product that perhaps has a much better margin, costs $8 and has a similar amount of conversions. It will tend to bid on the product that brings you the highest revenue and not necessarily the one that has the best profit margin. Of course, this example that I just used is not, it does not illustrate a big difference, but this is essentially what we mean. The algorithm has no way of knowing which are your best performing products, which products yield to a great profit margin. And if you are able to identify these differences within your inventory, we suggest you to set up different campaign types. That way you'll be able to set up different goals for each campaign. What we advise you to do is to use the algorithm's goal to try to use low bids for the low price products. For example, in this case, you would set up a high target ROAS, so the algorithm will try to use low bids and vice versa. If you feel confused about how to set up your campaign's target ROAS, so next I would like to explain more about the products that you will include, which products to exclude from your campaign. As we mentioned previously, not all products need to be added to your Smart Shopping campaign. Most of the time, we add only the best performing products to Smart Shopping. If you want to have, for example, if you want to exclude a specific product within your inventory, you have the opportunity of doing so during the campaign creation. You can decide this based on various reasons, for example, the low profit margins, or simply because you need to prioritize better selling products and have a tight budget. We've seen some accounts, JP, right, that have over 20K SKUs, 30,000 products, 10,000 products, and you can just not possibly want to advertise for all of them.
Absolutely.
If you have a tight budget. So if you need to prioritize some of your better selling products, you can of course do so by utilizing Smart Shopping. I'm sorry, you can do so while using Smart Shopping. But in order to be able to exclude so, you will need, your product will need to share specific attributes in your product feed. Therefore, we suggest you to create labels. An easy way to set up product labels is using the Google Merchant Center rules. Simply think of a condition that can help you group them based on either their selling rates or profitability. For example, you can set up a rule based on the product's price, based on the product's title, and set up a custom label that allows you to identify those products and later on exclude them. Now, advertisers are also able to exclude products from their campaign based on their performance. For example, if you've been running your campaign for 45 days and you notice certain products performing poorly, Smart Shopping campaigns will not allow you to segment products at an item ID level, meaning you cannot add the products individually, but only as a group. So you need to make sure that you use these labels, or that these labels allow you to refine products as granularly as possible in order to exclude some of the low performing products from your campaign.
So this goes back to what you mentioned earlier before. Smart Shopping campaigns are fully, the idea is to be fully automated, but you still need to have a properly and detailed setup feed, correct? Exactly.
You can just not forget about the feed or having a well-organized product feed and think that Smart Shopping will do everything for you. You need to feed a quality product feed to this campaign type. You need to think about how you would like to structure the campaign before you actually create it, and having it separated and segmented in a way that allows you to decide later on whether to exclude a product group or not. That it's crucial for performance. And especially monitoring performance.
Great titles, great images, even like you mentioned, very detailed custom labels.
Exactly.
Right. Thank you for that.
So lastly, we will talk about setting up the bidding strategy and the bid strategy goal. I would say this is one of the most important aspects of Smart Shopping I've seen a lot of advertisers fail because they do not fully understand how the bidding strategies work, or how to set it up, or which goal to use. Especially because Google tends to suggest you to use a very aggressive goal whenever you want to set up a target ROAS, for example. So as we discussed, smart shopping campaigns use maximize conversion value, smart bidding strategy, right? We'll take this time to fully explain how this works. So the bidding strategy, the maximize conversion value, has an option within it. When you create the campaign, it asks you, would you like to set up a target ROAS, right? We see maximize target ROAS as a completely different bidding strategy because they both work differently. Maximize revenue will try to get you as much revenue as possible within your budget. So this means that it will also try to use your entire budget. Any budget changes that you make to this campaign type will influence on how the campaign bids. Meaning if you reduce your budget significantly, the bid will also be reduced. If you increase it, the campaign might bid higher too. So you need to keep this in mind. It's crucial. I've seen even some strategists that have been running campaigns for a while come to me and say, for some reason my campaign bids are just too low, the campaign is no longer performing, I don't know what's happening. And the reason behind that is that they decreased the budget significantly. So you need to be aware of this, and whenever you use this type of bidding strategy, try not to make sudden and dramatic budget changes to it. On the other hand, maximize ROAS will try to get you as much revenue as possible while trying to maintain a determined ROAS at a campaign level. So instead of relying on budget, it will try to get you as much revenue as possible, as many conversions as possible, but in reality, as much revenue as possible within a determined ROAS. So what it will affect this bidding strategy is the goal you set up. Target ROAS, I must just say, target ROAS is not meant to work with campaigns with budget limitations. So you should avoid this at all costs when using this campaign strategy. Of course, this doesn't mean if the campaign budget is limited, you should change your bidding strategy. No, probably you should just adjust the goal or rethink your entire strategy in order to try to minimize the budget limitation. See if there are products that are, like, you can still monitor product performance within a smart shopping campaign. So look at that, look at how your products are performing, see if there's any products that you would like to exclude from the campaign in order to minimize budget limitation. But we must just say that target ROAS will not work as good as it could if the campaign is limited by budget. Now, how do I know what ROAS goal to set up? We already, JP, right, understand that if you would like to maximize revenue within your budget, I mean, get the most revenue out of your budget, the most revenue possible, you will use the maximize revenue strategy, right, bidding strategy. But if you want to also have a certain type of profitability, how do you know what ROAS goal to set up? Okay. So if you've been running standard shopping campaigns for some time, you can use your current ROAS average as a reference. We recommend you to start with a goal that is lower compared to your current ROAS to give the algorithm some chance to start to figure it out how to work. We often see advertisers say, okay, so my campaign is already performing or getting let's say a 5.0 conversion value over cost, right? So I should go ahead and just set up a target ROAS goal of 5, right? No, because although that could be your actual goal as an advertiser, that doesn't mean that the campaign will be able to take you from a 2 to a 5 immediately. So what you generally try to do is try to use your goal as a reference and start slightly with a slightly lower goal compared to what you have. So if you have a 2, consider using a 1.8 conversion value over cost metric to start with. Monitor the cost per click, monitor the performance, see if you would like to slightly adjust that or reduce that based on the performance that you have. And the idea is to give the algorithm a couple of weeks to pick up performance, and then continue to increase your goal until you find that perfect balance between revenue and efficiency.
Just a quick question: is there any recommendations when it comes? Because yes, we know any drastic change of budgets will reset the algorithm and make it start relearning a learning period again. But is there any suggestions when it comes to adjusting the target ROAS, either increasing or decreasing as far as the percentage amount?
Yes, I would try to keep the changes within a 10% difference. Meaning, if I need to decrease it, I would try to be very gentle to it. Make perhaps 10% less, 10% more, perhaps even lower than that. Meaning, if you want to use a target ROAS of, I don't know, 200%, try to use 180.
Okay.
Perhaps that could be a good number. 190. If you want to use a more aggressive one, jump to 220.
Okay.
But don't try to just go all the way to 5 or 6 or 10.
Yeah.
So we recommend looking at your average campaign ROAS and also the ROAS of all the products with conversions. It's quite possible to have a campaign that has a lot of conversions coming in from a specific product that has a low ROAS compared to the rest of the campaign, and then have some products that have a very high ROAS but a low conversion volume. So take all of these things into account. If you have this case, we recommend you to use the same ROAS as the product with the highest conversion volume. Whenever this, I must clarify. Whenever the product's ROAS is lower than the campaign's average, use the product's ROAS instead of the campaign average. Because if you go ahead and go for something restrictive, the algorithm might think that this product is not good enough for the campaign. So you might see bid reductions on that specific product. And of course, if it's your best performing product, you'll see performance going down. So we recommend running filters to determine the ROAS of the rest of the products in the campaign. Within the campaign, you can go to the products tab and look at that. And if there's a huge difference, as I said, you should take the product into account instead of the campaign's average. Now, a few things to keep in mind. You can have efficiency and volume at the same time. And advertisers that don't have historical data in their campaigns should always use maximized conversions. If you already know what your target ROAS should be, that's okay. But of course, there's no historical data for the algorithm to know how to get you there. So get started with maximized conversions. The last recommendation will be to use a higher ROAS whenever you want to bid conservatively, to only prioritize highly efficient items, and then use a lower ROAS goal when you want to bring more revenue. And if you want to have a higher ROAS, you can expect lower revenue. And if you want to have you want to maximize, of course, revenue, try to use a lower ROAS. Work on your campaign until you achieve that perfect balance. So now I hope you guys were able to catch all of our suggestions. We will jump onto the last pause to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, and since we do already have a question, I believe from Liz, thank you for the questions. And the question says, do you recommend a tracking template to understand product performance in Google Analytics since there isn't much data?
Well, to answer this question, you can either look into Analytics or also use Google Ads. Within your Smart Shopping campaign, you'll be able to go to a tab on the left menu, which is called Products, and in there you can go ahead and look at all of the products within your campaign and look at their clicks, their CPC, their cost, the conversions, and the conversion value over cost. You can use the date range in order to analyze performance for the last 30 days or any other date range that you might want to analyze. And you can, of course, use product filters in there to, for example, let's say JP wants to analyze the performance of a car part campaign and he has a specific brand. Let's say he uses Ford. He can use a filter for brand name and use to type in the word Ford, and all of the products within that brand will show up under that. You can go ahead and generate a report or just in the interface analyze the performance of that specific category and compare it to the rest of the campaign. So that's what I generally do in order to decide how products are performing. But if you want to do that in Google Analytics, that's also very valid.
Okay, Liz, hope that answers your question. We have another question from Pedro. It says, my campaign seems to be utilizing all of the budget. I give it even after increasing it. Even after increasing it twice over the last week. My standard shopping campaign used the same budget and was never limited.
Okay, I would ask Pedro the following questions. Which products are you advertising for? Are you sure you want to advertise for all the products that you have inside your campaign? Perhaps you want to prioritize one or the other. Perhaps your budget is just too tight for the amount of products that you are trying to advertise for. Consider resegmenting your campaign to prioritize good performing products. And I will also tell to Pedro, it's not necessarily normal. The campaign is supposed to be able to adjust your product bid in order to your budget. So if you give it $10 a day, $20 a day, it will try to get the most out of it. Of course, you will try to spend your entire budget, but not necessarily it will be limited. Perhaps you want to reconsider your bidding strategy too. How limited is really the campaign? I would recommend you to assess that and also let you know that the algorithm will vary over the first days. So right after you create the campaign, it's quite possible that you'll see average CPC spike, that you'll see budget being utilized more quickly. So I would recommend you to keep an eye on performance. If you just started this campaign, to give it a couple more days, see how it goes, review whether you have a large inventory in your campaign. Perhaps your budget is just too limited, or perhaps reconsider your strategy. If you're using target ROAS, move it to maximize conversion value. You will generally, of course, try to utilize your entire budget, but not be really limited to the point that your ads run only for a couple of hours. So hope that answers your question, Pedro.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions?
Let's check if we have any other questions. No, that seems to be it. I don't think we have any other questions for now.
Okay, if you guys have any other questions, if you want to learn more about smart shopping, White Shirt Media will be releasing a course about smart shopping. I believe we also have Google Shopping courses available within the Academy already in Spanish and in English. So you feel free to sign up, to register, to take those courses. If you have any other questions that were not answered during the webinar, we invite you to register to the Academy and submit those questions there. So you can just submit that there and someone will get back to you with an answer.
Yeah, we really do encourage you guys to join the Academy. It's whitesharkmedia.com/academy. Very cool tools, very cool insights.
And it's free.
That's probably the most important thing. It's free. We cover topics such as smart shopping and any other PPC related topics that you might have questions or concerns or just simply want to keep learning. And in this industry, it's ever evolving, and it's important to always be updated.
And anything that is within the Academy, something that the strategists of White Shirt Media have tested, it's free knowledge from a Google Premier Partner agency. So I encourage you guys to take advantage of that. Really hope that you were able to learn something new within this live course. We'll look forward to your feedback.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us.